Hello and welcome. Isn't Twitter a marvelous thing, as well as a toxic thing, all at the same time? And I guess that's the nature of the human condition. But anyway, there's a lovely document that I've come across on Twitter, which relates to the Grenfell Tower incident again. And it's in relation to the press not being allowed access to the Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea council building. Well, it's a people's building, the Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea council are occupying that building for their own ends under government permit, which is why all the head people are dropping like flies at the moment. So what's basically happened is this document is from the High Court, which is a court of the government, and the High Court have issued this draft order out against the council for not allowing press access to a public, what is essentially a public meeting in a public venue with the public, well, with the council that is supposedly serving the public. That's a very grey area. But less of all that. It's more, this document is just so simple and so clear. I just want to run through it with you, just so that you get an idea of how simple the law can be. Now, I believe this is a legal document. I'm not legally qualified or trained, but it's so simple. It's worth looking from a law point of view as well as a legal point of view. So at the top, it's a little bit cut off. That's because I didn't take the picture; someone else has taken it. But I think it says in the High Court on the application of, and then it has the parties. So if you could imagine, for example, there's a controversy. So there has been a controversy in this case. The press are not being allowed access to report and cover for the public good a meeting between the council in relation to what's going on in Kensington and Chelsea, in particular the Grenfell incident. So the 6 parties there, they're all numbered nicely, which is kind of them to do so. So there's 6 parties to the claim, okay, the claimants. Now in legal world, their definition of claimant in claim has been altered to mean complaint, which is crucial. So the word claimant in the legal world has, as they've defined it, means complaint as well as claim. And if you think you mean claim, they really mean, or they really know that you mean complaint. So they're making a complaint. And so the parties at the top, they're essentially the prosecutors. The lead witness, if you like, the prosecutor means the primary witness. So at the top there, number 1, the Guardian News and Media Limited. So it's not a flesh and blood living being like you and I. This is a person. This is a person that just happens to be a legally created entity. Okay, so second person is Times, Sky News, Associated Newspapers, Financial Times, Press Association. So clearly, the reporters have gone to this meeting and been kicked out. Actually, I can just show you. There is a picture. I don't know if I'll be able to show you it, but I'll try and show you it. But yeah, there's a load of reporters and people outside, and the heavies on the door of a public building saying, "Oh, this public building is suddenly a lot less public." And yeah, so they've basically sent their guys out, and they've not been able to perform the tasks that they were ordered to do. These journalists were sent there. They're paid by these corporate persons listed 1 to 6 to do a job and to get paid. So because they've gone there under the belief that they would be able to access this interview, sit down, shut up, be quiet, listen, take notes, possibly ask a question if they're lucky. All that's been denied, essentially, or blocked, or infringed, however you want to put it. But the newspapers here have essentially still got to pay the wages. You know, they sent the people there with the belief that they were going to do the job, and through the staff's no fault of their own, they've not been allowed to. And the company still has to pay the cost for paying these staff, you know, all through that time when everyone was under the belief, or they believed, these limited companies, these persons of a legal nature, their masters, should we say, believed, because belief is an interesting word, that their staff would be able to perform that duty, but they've not. So there's a cost to these companies for sending these staff out, waiting around all day, scratching their heads, thinking, hang on, I thought we were allowed access to this building. What's going on? I've got a job to do. Let me in. And obviously security guards at the door saying, nope, you're not getting in. We've been told to do that. So the security guards have been ordered by their employers not to let you in. And yet, like I said, it's a public building, and the staff are under orders to go in and sit in this meeting. So this is where the controversy has happened. So they've very cleverly gone to the High Court, and they've got this draft, something called a draft order. Now, a draft is an order to pay. So, and if we'll explore this in a bit more detail, we can kind of see the theme of this order. But it's very simple. What court is at the top is cut off. So we're at a venue or in a venue. Claimants were labelled 1 to 6. So let's say, I just want to quickly mention on that in the claimants part, is that 1 to 6, all these people are completely unrelated to each other. Let's pretend, well, they are, because as you can tell by the names, that in fact, you might say they're competitors. They probably have very little in common, but they have something in common when the Royal Borough of Kensington becomes a defendant. So 1 to 6 hates Royal Borough of Kensington, or at least they've got a controversy that needs settling. So they've all decided, you know what? As much as you're my competitor, this is wrong. We've been denied access to a meeting that we maybe will presume that we were going to have access to, and we've all covered the cost. So Guardian at the top would be the Guardian at the top would be the primary witness in this case. And he said, "Hey, Times newspaper, do you want to come on to my claim?" Yeah, of course I would. I'd love to go on that, Guardian. Okay, and then Guardian says, "Oh, Sky News. Sky News, this guy, I'm doing a claim. Would you like to come onto my claim?" Yeah, and then Sky News might know the Financial Times, for example, and the Sky News might say, "Hey, Financial Times, Guardian is doing a claim against these guys for wasting all of our time, and we're going to try and recover, costs essentially." So they're all, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. So all these people got together and said, yeah. So the claim essentially is Guardian. But they're all on it. They've all got their equal claim. So it's designed to save time and money in the courts. Is that this is the claim? All our claims are pretty much the same. The values will be different. Like each of the costs will be different. But essentially, they're coming forward to this claim against the Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea. That's the Royal Borough. It's not strict. It's the councils. Technically, it's the council, not the Royal Borough of Kensington. That's a totally different entity, actually. So I'm not sure if there's been a slight mistake there with the defendant's title. Yeah, but anyway, that's a by the by. But it's important to always get the name right. Anyway, so the draft order, that's what it is. Now, I'm not entirely. I know what an order is, and I know what a draft is. But when you stick these two words together, and you capitalise the order, I think that's slightly in italics. The draft is, I'm trying to work out what it is. But a draft is essentially a note that is ordering to pay a third person, and the order is essentially a court order. You comply with this order, or you'll be in contempt of court. So, and then this is the controversy. So this is so short, sharp, and sweet. It's brilliant. For anyone who has no idea or what the idea of a court order is, or going to a court and sorting out a very, very simple controversy, this has got it all in it. So upon reading the out of hours form and hearing from Mr. Judge Bunting by telephone, so they've phoned up the judge on the out of hours number. And the judge has basically said, yeah, you can put a quick court together. So they probably haven't even had to go into the court building or anything. Upon reading the out-of-hours court, so it was out of hours that they filed this. So it could have been on a Saturday, maybe. I mean, I've just read this again and seen something new. So it's Mr. Judge Bunting. So Judge Bunting by telephone. So they didn't even speak to the judge face-to-face. They didn't even have to go to court. They just managed to get through to a judge. And the judge said, it is so ordered that the Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea is restrained from excluding accredited members of the press from council meetings to discuss the Grenfell Tower fire at 18:30. So that's 6:30. So that's why it's out of hours on the 29th of June 2017. Costs reserved. That's basically they're asking for their costs. If they're reserving the right to order payment of costs if you do not comply with this order. So they're saying, one, we give you the chance to do this. If you don't do it, we're going to reserve the costs. And third point, liberty to apply. So liberty is the grant, being allowed. Liberty is being allowed. It's not freedom itself, it's being allowed. So liberty to apply, liberty to approach, to vary, so that if they need to change the order because of something else might happen unforeseen that they might need to add on to cost, like maybe even one of their staff gets assaulted, let's say, so that might be damages now. Or their equipment might be pushed to, like a cameraman might be pushed away by one of the doormen because they're not allowing them they're in contempt of court, they're not obeying the order and they're being pushed away. So that would be to vary this order to not only include costs, it could be to include the damage of a broken camera or some other controversy. And they also vary the right to discharge this order, which is also a good point. So at any time we wish to discharge this order, so that if the above party complies entirely with the terms of this order, or the terms of court, more importantly, then we'll all get on our way and everyone will be happy as Larry. So that's basically a really, really nice little document, that is. It's so simple, and it shows you how simple it is sometimes to access court to get a short little controversy sorted out. Okay, now obviously someone knows this judge, or they've been informed very accurately how to attain this or obtain this order from a judge very quickly. So this is how free access to the courts to get a judge on side because of the nature of the controversy and the freedom of the press and all these established norms in legal society, as well as our normal society. And this is why they've managed to come across a very simple document here. Now, what are the outcomes of this? So obviously, Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea there's an order here, and it's being quoted as by Judge Bunting. And Judge Bunting is basically, established that there is a claim for this, and he's ordered this court that the council don't interfere with the right of the press to access this meeting. So they should do the right thing and allow staff to do their jobs in accordance to freedom of the press and all the associated joys of that. But if they don't do it, then they're obviously in breach of a draft order. Now, whether or not that will mean that the Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea will be in contempt of court, or more importantly, the people who have ordered the obstruction of people to access that public building would be in contempt of court, which would be, no one, contempt of court is serious, all right? If you start acting up in court or being rude or being flippant, or more importantly, disorderly, disobeying orders of court, then you are in contempt of court. Okay, so just bear that in mind. Orders are whenever anyone uses the word order, you do it. All right, you give them a bill, but in other words, you do it, because that's when they can start putting you in prison. Because the ability to fine or imprison is strictly the realm of the Queen's Court. I think this is in Black's Law Dictionary. So any court that has the power to fine or imprison for contempt immediately becomes the King's Court. So yeah, take it very seriously. But that's just my opinion of it. But I just love how simple this is. It's just a really simple order, and it puts the Royal Borough or the council on good notice that they should comply, or be in contempt, face the consequences. All right, and that'll be the end of that one.